S-rank hunters from Korea and Japan. They are definitely the strongest hunters there. There's also no reason for me to watch the raid, because even without me, I'm sure they will still succeed, as long as nothing unusual happens. The scene changes to the scene inside the dungeon. The group of Korean hunters are still doing extremely well. A sniper said that this is the first time I've seen these. Are they the Queen's guardians or something? But they are also quite weak. Bak looked at the ants and said to Min Byong-gu, their eyes are shrunken. I guess they have evolved to live and protect these tunnels, so they are not too difficult to kill as long as they are not guardian ants cannot stop us yet. Min Byong-gu asks Bak, does he really think the Ant Queen is here? Because in history, there have been many kings who abandoned their kingdom and their people and fled. Bak quietly replied, they are just ants. How can they do that? And this is an island where even if you want to run, there is no way to run. The camera guy here is preparing his equipment to have extremely valuable live footage for the radio audience. They walked for a while and then encountered a horrifying scene. The number of eggs they witnessed before their eyes could be up to tens of thousands of eggs. This is the incubation area, which means the queen nest will also be nearby. Choi Jong-in also doesn't know who will protect these eggs. He will grill them. Father Hae-in told you to wait. There's a giant egg over there. Min Byong-gu was also surprised. He couldn't believe it was a witness. He suspected it was the guardian ant's witness. Bak tells him to focus on killing the queen first, so get distracted. Outside, the girl told Kenzo that he looked horrible, and he angrily said that they were really annoying. They must also be able to think, because they attacked me in many different ways. I killed about 30 of them, but I was also injured in the shoulder and hip. The orange-haired girl sarcastically asked Kenzo if he wanted me to recover. With one condition. Kenzo angrily told her to stop teasing her and recover quickly. She happily replied, but I want something other than money. It was difficult for him to understand what she wanted because she had more money than herself. The ants gradually increased. Kenzo turned to talk to the orange-haired girl, but her head was cut off by something in the surprise of the two of them. While the two of them recognized that thing, their head was cut off by it. The other guy saw that and started to attack, but the result was not any better. In less than a minute, the scene here was extremely quiet. Inside the dungeon, Han's group of hunters was starting to have difficulty facing the bodyguard ants. Mondamok was also extremely surprised at their strength, but in the end they were inferior to them in combat. While an ant was about to attack Master Ma, from behind, Cha Hae-in sent it back to its ancestors. Miss Cha's movements are extremely skillful and proficient. Guys, don't think nonsense. Every swing of the sword is fatal. Master Ma also realized that they have very different powers than the ants out there. Luckily, there aren't too many people like this here. Min Byong-gu told everyone not to worry because he was here. Bak teased him, you're lucky you're not a coward. Min Byong-gu replied, go and tell me, boss. Now he still made a few elementary mistakes here and there, then he used a powerful attack to end the ant's life. He happily added, did you forget that if you get their heads, their bodies would still be alive for another 10 minutes? To neutralize them, you need to destroy both your legs and arms. Everyone was starting to have a bit of difficulty. Before they reached the queen's room, they met the bodyguard ants, but it seemed they were the older generation. Bak said, as I guessed, these guys are first-generation ants, so they were pushed out. I'm not allowed to be the ant queen's bodyguard anymore. From here onwards, we will definitely meet ants of the second generation or more. Min Byong-gu confidently replied that then we have to prepare a little right. Then he opened the summoning book and brought out the necessary equipment for the surrounding hunters. Everyone felt that their bodies had been strengthened. But these buffs just make everyone feel better. They help us deal with many monsters at the same time and still win. If that's the case, then each of us will take down 10 of them. Min Byong-gu is confident that his fighting power is on par with a rank, so he can also take down the rest for everyone. At this moment, Bak's murderous aura arose. Are you enough? We won't let the healer have to do anything. The buffs you just made are enough. So just stand behind and support. Outside, two Japanese assassins were chatting with each other. Unexpectedly, we went to check on Team C because they had lost contact. I don't know what those people are doing. They observed the situation as if there was a fight here. They clashed with some ants. The silver-haired guy didn't know where they went. But suddenly a hunter recognized the glasses of a person named Fujishima, who was here. Their hands began to tremble. The silver-haired guy couldn't stand it anymore and vomited onto the tree, not answering but thinking that he had never smelled this smell before. It was disgusting. The murderous aura radiated clearly in the forest next to them. The tree used its ice skill to attack into the forest, but in the end it was still destined to be taken to heaven by a sharp iron hand. Inside, everyone said that they took too much of their time, but Choi said that this is very fast. We only lost 5 minutes. Bak whispered, thinking that Ha's father was like a tiger with wings thanks to the buff from Min Byung-gu, calculating that she was able to defeat twice as many as him. This guy is so angry, bro. They had been in the dungeon for 15 minutes. The total time left for them to act was about 30 more minutes. Ma Dum-mook here is worried about killing the Ant Queen, and Ha-in's father can feel their breath. Bak uses his map hacking skills to scout the situation. He sensed the Queen's presence inside a cave. Her location was at the furthest back. There are 8 bodyguard ants protecting it. It's really convenient to have a map hack, guys. The bodyguard ants just now are about S rank. If we let Shah in, she could take them out while I buy her time. Ma Dum-mook is a tank, so he said. Father Hunter, I will take care of the Queen Ant. I'll take care of the rest. What skill did Choi Jong in start using that made a cool fire dragon appear? He didn't forget to add that he normally uses very limited powers, but today it seems like he'll have to use them all. Only mana left. A super large dragon flew around Choi Jong-in's body. A guard ant tried to attack him, but was shot down by the team's gunner. It's Lim and he will support behind Choi Jong. And Bak here also understands that there is nothing for him to hold back. Even after that, when he turned on his ultimate transformation, a super huge beast officially appeared. He rushed into the ants like an animal hungry for its prey. Father Ha-in here was also surprised by his president's appearance. Beck screamed like a young boy who had just won the Free Fire game. Ha-in's father saw that and did not accept being outdone. She used the skill to buff the strength into the sword, then stabbed it straight into the ground, causing it to break. Seeing this, Ma Dum-mook immediately used his skill to attract the Ant Queen's attention. The cameraman was surprised because the battle had actually begun. The number of followers also increased by 80%, bringing the camera closer for everyone to see clearly. This stupid action of his was stopped by Min Byung-gu. He said that this is the S-rank boss room. No one can guarantee the safety of his life. Min Byung-gu's fiery aura made the cameraman feel a bit surprised and think, don't people usually say that healers' fighting skills are bad, but he looks like he's a stronger fighter than A-rank. Like me too. At a certain house, an old woman asked her husband if he didn't want to see the hunters fighting. He said he didn't like watching it. She persuaded her husband not to be like that anymore, saying on TV that this year might be the year we get rid of those ants. He sulked and replied that they always say that, because I don't care anymore. She calmly said that they are the only ones who can avenge our child. Never mind, I will still see if the world is destroyed. This useless old man on TV right now is showing the hunters starting to fight the ants. The commentators kept commenting on the battle, and the people next door also kept shouting to cheer for the hunters. Everyone from the rewarder to the awakener is keeping their eyes on the screen, hoping everything will end well. All activities from the city to the countryside seemed to have to stop to watch the match. The old woman informed her husband that all the guard ants had been defeated. Hearing this, the old man was so excited that he could not bear it anymore. This was their 4th raid. They better succeed this time, right? The commentator said that now there is only the queen ant left. If they can defeat the queen, it will be considered that we have completely destroyed all the ants. Live show viewership has reached 85% worldwide. This is their record. The hunters are now using all their strength to attack the queen ant. Black told everyone not to be afraid because the queen ant without a guard can only be killed. But unexpectedly the queen squirts out poison, making it a bit difficult for them. Min Byung-gu here uses his own recovery skills to heal everyone. He didn't forget to say something to the queen ant, making it angry. Choi Jong-in told everyone to stay back. He would use the skill to attack the ant. The fire's pressure was extremely great. Black secretly thought that the queen ant was doomed. I know that because of the experience gained from other battles. The queen ant screamed in pain as if they were about to win. But it roared loudly, releasing magic power that destroyed Choi Jong-in's move. It seemed like it had asked for help. The scream just now destroyed their jamming system. The ants are now returning to the nest. After defeating the Ant Queen, they doubted whether they had defeated the S-rank dungeon. But the surprising news was that the ants had received the signal and returned to their nest. Everyone was now frantic as to why the Japanese hunters couldn't stop them. Choi Jong realized that his firewall shield had just been destroyed. An ant with an extremely strong appearance entered the dungeon to everyone's surprise. It let out a scream that made all S-rank tremble in fear. That was all the overwhelming energy that was radiating from that single ant. Hae's father couldn't stand it anymore when he smelled this smell. An ant that walked on two legs and had an extremely human-like shape appeared in front of them. The pressure is so terrible it's unbelievable. It was not an ordinary monster, with only the sound of footsteps spreading fear to all the monsters that passed by Ma Dumbuk and approached the Queen Ant's body. Looking at the Queen Ant's corpse, she was really angry. She slid behind Ha's father and punched her in the hip, causing pain to the core. Just one blow sent Hae's father flying 10 meters away. Next was Ma Dumbuk. With just one split-second movement, the tank's hands were separated from his body. The scene at this moment was extremely horrifying. Bak angrily rushed forward but was attacked by it in just a moment. Before the guild leader Choi could use the skill, it stabbed him in the chest, causing him pain. Lim used a bow and arrow from afar to shoot at that ant at a close range, but it was too out with only one hand able to block the magic arrow. It turned evil and looked at him. One hit sent him flying into the cliff. Suddenly, he was punched from behind by his master, who forced him to step back and defend. He is confident that he has healer Min Byong-gu behind him. Thanks to his camouflage skills, Min Byong-gu escaped its attention. Even though you have to stand still while the skill is in effect, it's fine to exchange with a healer like that. Even if it wants to eliminate him, it doesn't know where he is. Ma Dumbuk continuously attacked the ant, but suddenly it grabbed its foot and spun it around like a cricket. It turned a deadly look towards Min Byong-gu. It seemed like the camouflage skill had no effect on it right now. Bak sensed that, so he warned him, but the result was still that Min Byong-gu was stabbed through the chest. Bak here witnessed his juniors being given bonuses and kept screaming. Everyone who witnessed this scene was extremely shocked. The ant was like a god of death slowly approaching them. Bak was angry and rushed forward to risk his life to save Min Byong-gu, but the ant caught him and squeezed his throat. Bak gradually lost his ability to resist and returned to his human form. The ant then opened his mouth. "You are too weak. Who is your king?" Everyone cannot answer this question at this time. The ant realized there was a huge amount of power outside, so it thought it was their king. It dropped the Bak on the ground and teleported outside. Everyone seemed to realize it was looking for Godo. The baby ants are now gradually returning to their nest. Outside, the Japanese hunter group has lost contact with Group C and D. Godo said that it was probably due to the signal, but normally they do not arbitrarily connect like that. Team B, please answer. The other girl replied, "Bravo, stay alive." Godo asked, and they couldn't contact Team Charlie and Delta, right? She immediately confirmed that we can only contact Team A. Do we need to go find them? Godo heard that and said there was no need because he was already looking for it. Let's finish dealing with that side and then focus later. President Matsumoto called Godo to say something. The scene changes to the Chinese coast. The captain of a warship is asking about the situation of the Japanese raid team. He says he probably wants their Godo Ryuji to become a national hunter. The employee replied, "Yes, all current national hunters have swept at least one's rank gate, but Godo hasn't cleared any gate yet." He took his hat and put it on his head and said that Godo Ryuji's performance alone would not be successful. The employee was a bit surprised when he heard that. He confidently said that you will immediately know the difference in class when you see Rya's cane. He replied, "It seems like you are a big fan of him, right?" He immediately said he could call it that, but anyway, this raid would definitely be a big gamble for both sides. Godo here was chatting but suddenly fell silent when he witnessed the scene before his eyes. He slowly said, "Maybe we already have casualties." The chairman asked in the end, since there were casualties because of helping them, shouldn't we just worry about the little ants? Godo replied that they died because they were weak and had nothing to worry about. The chairman said he only needed Godo Ryuji and it didn't matter if the other people died. So the Korean team is still dealing with the queen ants, right? Goto reported that just now it seemed like the signal jammer had malfunctioned and the ants had all returned to the nest. I'm a bit worried, but I'm sure the result won't change anything. The president asked Goto what percentage of the Korean team survived. He said that after checking their capabilities, this time Korea had 0% survival. Hearing this, he breathed a sigh of relief. Well, we can say the reason is that the Japanese team did their best. But because the Korean team failed, we had to withdraw. Unfortunately, Goto's goal of becoming a national-level hunter was doomed. We can set the news light that our goal of eliminating all Korean S-rank hunters has been successful. Please tell everyone to retreat. Goto turned to call his two sons to retreat and we will bring their bodies back. But now his retribution had come. The orange-haired girl next to them had disappeared in an instant. Goto started to take an attack stance. Goto told him to leave it to me, Minoru. Quickly gather with heart B. If this ant is strong, then you will only get in my way. Goto's face was full of murderous intent and said to the ant, "You're in my way." The ant asked him, "Are you the king?" He replied, "Yes, I am the king." After hearing this, it became extremely excited and released a terrible amount of magic power, scaring everything around it and Goto. He had experienced this feeling before, but didn't know when. Then his head fell down without even being able to use any moves. Inside the cave, all the hunters were relying on Choijong, its remaining strength, to fight against the baby ants. They told him to use more power, but Choi said that doing so would burn up all the remaining oxygen inside the cave. Everyone was now seriously injured, even though Byung-gu had reduced their damage to a minimum. While they thought it was over, suddenly one of their black knights rose up. When Jin-woo sensed danger, he finally used Shadow Swap. The camera guy stood trembling. He was regretting that he couldn't talk to his father more. The ant attacked the soldier, but suddenly a sword pierced its head. Ingress has appeared. At the live broadcast, everyone was amazed at the fact that with just that one ant, all the S-rank hunters were about to be defeated. How the hell did the situation turn 360 degrees like this? The employee informed his boss that everyone calling our hotline was about to collapse. The other boss was also helpless and didn't know what to do. His face looked full of dissatisfaction, but he continued to say that some mysterious characters were starting to appear on the screen. The boss went over to take a look and was really surprised by those mysterious people. The employee said, "But if they broadcast it right now, everything they hid before will be exposed. If something bad happens, they won't be able to handle it." The boss now doesn't care about public opinion anymore. After all, their TV channel has already been stopped once. Things can't get any worse. There's nothing that can stop them anymore. Let everything be broadcast. Look at the scene on the screen. Brothers, the fate of humanity is in the hands of that person, the ultimate hunter, some Jin-woo. Here, Jin-woo ordered Iron to use Roar to reduce the fighting power of the ants. Jin-woo used the Demon King's knife that he had just obtained from the Demon King to slide through the ants, causing them to split in half. Now we can see Jin-woo's entire squad. It's so amazing. Ma Dong-mook was also surprised as to who had just fought to save them. Bak saw Jin-woo and said, "Master Ma, don't worry anymore. We are saved." At this time, Jin-woo and his shadow warriors fought extremely passionately. In order to speed up the progress of the battle, Jin-woo summoned a few more ants that had just been defeated to attack them again. Other opinions in the camera guy's surprise. In the earphone of the guy filming, the boss's voice rang out, "Hey, are you still there? Move quickly to get a nice view. Hurry up, the whole country is watching." He rolled his eyes. I don't know why, but the ants are killing each other. Jin-woo gathered everyone together. He held a potion in his hand. I couldn't give it to them, but in the end I decided to give it to everyone to recover their health. After everyone drank Jin-woo's recovery potion, the wounds actually healed quickly. Ma Dong-mook asked suspiciously, "Why hasn't Hunter Chow woke up yet?" Jin-woo said that she is currently in critical condition and cannot be cured with his skills right now. Jin-woo orders everyone to leave now so he can start a real battle. That evil ant is entering the cave with a terrifying murderous aura. He stood in front of Jin-woo and Ma Dong-mook and asked if there was anyone here who was a king. When Bak saw it, he was extremely scared. He also realized that if it had returned here, it meant Goto had also been defeated. Jin-woo stepped forward like a god and told Master Ma to take good care of his lover, otherwise he will cut a dangerous spot on his body. The ant approached Jin-woo and asked, Are you the king of humans? Oh, this is a talking bug. The ant remembered the figure of that Godo and told Jin-woo that he was radiating quite scary energy. Then it started screaming like it hadn't screamed in a long time. 5 minutes ago, everyone including Mr. Song and Joo-hee were watching the broadcast when the signal was lost. Everyone was upset because the show was stopped from airing. The TV station's MC announced that the program will continue to be broadcast after a news has just been confirmed from the center. We know that Hunter Min Byung-gu has died and the fate of the remaining hunters is still unknown. Confirmable, but suddenly an unknown hunter just appeared on the scene. Ladies and gentlemen, we will start live reporting again. Here, the president of the Japanese Hunter Association is angry because his Godo was defeated by a talking ant. Mr. Matsumoto, president of the association, asked his assistant, "Where is that ant?" He replied in fear that it was returning to the queen. So is the Korean team still alive? He confirmed that they were still alive and that something with enormous energy was confronting the ants that had just appeared. When he heard that, he got angry and stood up, banging his hand on the table. Live session. Quickly turn on TV and live session in Korea quickly. Jin-ha here asks mom what she's doing. She turned to apologize for bothering her to study. The TV had a problem, but she kept banging it and the picture didn't come on. Jin-ha asked her, "Where is Jin-woo now?" She replied, "He just went out. He said he was going to do something." Jin-ha, why isn't the picture on this TV? What's wrong? Realizing something, she quickly closed the door and left the room, leaving her mother behind who didn't understand what was going on. The little girl went into her room and turned on the phone. Her jaw dropped when she saw what happened on the screen. Chairman Go Gun-hee also excitedly shouted, "Hunter Sung Jin-woo. This old man is excited but it costs too much money." The ant screamed and then hit Jin-woo straight in the face, but it seemed unharmed. The surrounding rock and soil were shattered by its magic power. Choi and Bak felt it create an extremely terrifying power. The ant thought he had defeated Jin-woo, so he started saying, "Too weak. You are not the king." But right now, everyone is surprised that Jin-woo is unharmed. He still stood there in front of the ant. He spit out a small mouthful of blood, activating the ruler's hand skill. The magic power emitted from the ant began to be attracted towards Jin-woo's hand. He threw out a fist, sending the ant flying 100 meters, causing the ground and rocks to break. Lim and the cameraman gasped. Ma Dong-wook asks Choi and Bak if Jin-woo is really a mage-class hunter. The crazy ant rushed towards Jin-woo. He felt that its body was extremely sturdy, probably because of its shell. It attacked Jin-woo once. Jin-woo blocked one attack. The battle continued like that. The overwhelming position belonged to Jin-woo, of course. The pressure was so terrible that the cameraman was extremely scared and trembling. The magic emitted was enough to make people under rank of faint. Continuously heavy punches came from Jin-woo. Its shell was about to be broken. A battle it never thought it would lose. It was extremely amazed by Jin-woo's power. The two attacks touched each other, causing both sides to retreat a few steps, not allowing it to rest for long. Jin-woo took advantage of the victory and continued to attack it and hit it in the stomach with a painful blow. The dirty ant stuck out its tongue into a sword that pierced Jin-woo's face, causing a slight injury to his face. The poisonous sword is seeping into Jin-woo's body. The poison he just absorbed from this ant was extremely toxic. If combined with the poison Jin-woo already had in his body, it would be extremely dangerous. The ant saw that he had caused damage to Jin-woo's body, so he was extremely pleased and shouted, "Drop dead." The scene changes to the outside of the island. The assassin girl says, "Minoru, Sugimoto-san contacted me. What happened?" He replied in fear, "We can't win against that monster no matter if it's S rank or anything else. It's a monster that can't be defeated with human strength alone." He was so depressed right now that he couldn't stop crying. The other girl saw him lose his spirit and immediately pushed him to the ground. "Damn, you are really useless. We'll have a lot of trouble from now on." Damned. Returning to the battle, Jin-woo stood up, grabbed the ant's hand, and gave it a blow in the mouth for shouting loudly. Jin-woo's body poison has been eliminated. Jin-woo can feel the ant's thoughts. He was definitely very worried, but Jin-woo was the same as him. He needed to end this battle as soon as possible. Jin-woo then rushed from the rock to hit the ant's head, but it disappeared, leaving only a large crack on the ground. The ant thought Jin-woo's advantage was physical, so it shouldn't compete in strength with Jin-woo. Its advantage is speed. It immediately reduced its body size and increased everything in speed. Two strong people are entering the final match. Both of them were going all in for this final round, but it seemed that the ant was careless in disregarding the enemy. Jin-woo dodged that attack and stabbed the dagger straight into the ant's body, but because the shell was too hard, it knocked it back. They also realized that Jin-woo not only kept up with the speed, but he was even faster than it. Jin-woo also understands how this brat can fight with him. Its previous armor had cracked, revealing its weak point. This is definitely an opportunity for him to finish. Critical slash skill is activated. The skill has been upgraded to the highest level critical chain. The ant was about to be defeated and immediately wanted to leave, but it wasn't that easy. A series of knife blows pierced the ant's body, leaving it with thousands of pain. Feeling that he had nothing better than Jin-woo, he began to scream, gathering the baby ants to surround Jin-woo. What now? Human. Jin-woo didn't answer but just smiled. Getting up, the two legions rushed to fight each other. Jin-woo summoned Tusk, but warned that if it hurt other hunters, it would never be summoned again. Tusk seriously received the order to use the fiery chant. The activated fire swept over the ants. It is so strong that it penetrates mountains. Ma-dum-mook also understood at this moment. Jin-woo was not just an ordinary summoner. He was actually like a new king born in this world. The ant witnessed this scene and couldn't believe his eyes anymore. He was born destined to be a king. He was once a king, but now he really needs to run fast to survive. The ant used Byung-goo's healing ability. The reason Jin-woo knew that was because he saw it absorb the skittles of those it killed. The ant now flew away, but Jin-woo used his ruler's hand to catch it. It screamed in pain. Jin-woo used the fatal chain to end its life. Bakir shouted, "Hunter Sung Jin-woo, Miss Cha-hae, it is injured." Jin-woo realized he had wasted too much time. He needs a fast healer. Quickly summoning souls is never omnipotent. Even if he rides Kaido, the hunter father will die before he returns here. Jin-woo realized something, so he turned to ask the camera guy, could he turn off the camera for a bit? He gave a dangerous look, threatening that if he didn't turn it off, I would smash it. Jin-woo ordered everyone to find Hunter Min Byung-goo's body immediately. Bak was a bit surprised when he heard this. A high orcs brought his body to Jin-woo. His head was eaten. Jin-woo wasn't sure if it was successful. Bak asked Jin-woo what he was planning to do. Jin-woo did not answer Bak, but shouted, "Arise!" The extraction notification system failed. He shouted the command again and failed again. It seems like Min Byung-goo doesn't want to summon it again. It's considered a crime to summon the soul of the deceased. But life must come first. Jin-woo angrily shouted, "Arise!" Bak couldn't stand it anymore and shouted, "Sung Jin-woo, what are you doing with Min Byung-goo's body? His true power is the power to control souls." Choi Jong-min and Ma-dum-mook were also extremely surprised at this time. Min Byung-goo stands in front of Cha-hae, and he used his healing skill. Jin-woo was silent. I think he is truly a man. He is restoring Hunter Cha-hae in according to his will and not under orders. Mine is such a warm person. Bak gritted his teeth. He is no longer Min Byung-goo. The camera guy here was stunned. What the hell could he summon a corpse? I couldn't say anything. So this is why he asked me to turn off the camera. Choi Jong-min also understood that the more Jin-woo fought, the stronger he would become to the point where he couldn't imagine how strong he could be. Bak Yoon-ho patted Jin-woo's shoulder. I'm sure you will have many more battles in the future, and I'm sure Min Byung-goo's strength will help you a lot. But in real life, Min Byung-goo really hates fighting. Let him fight again. Please don't do that. Jin-woo said that this was the second time Hunter Bak held my shoulder, but unlike the previous time, it was a sincere request. I also felt like Hunter Bak. Jin-woo touched Min Byung-goo and destroyed everyone's facial expressions. At this moment, they all smiled with satisfaction. Min Byung-goo also gradually disappeared. Everyone at the beach shouted at this time, "The hunters are going out." Jin-woo tells Bak he will stay because there are some things that need to be resolved that are not completely over yet. I will clear the way and take care of the ants before they return. Kazel, a giant dragon that appeared on Jin-woo, was very cool. Wherever the Kazel glides, the ants are defeated. At that time, on a Japanese warship, the blonde hunter recounted his experience about that monster. He had never seen anything like that Goto-san, the way he was crushed by that thing. We can't win this attack. No hunter can take that thing down. The inspector told him not to worry anymore. The attack on Jeju Island was over and that monster was dead. Hearing this sentence, I couldn't believe my ears anymore. No, it can't be. We just received a notification from the Korean command. The inspector did not expect Korea to have such strong hunters. However, he is probably weaker than Godosin. Listening to this, do you feel wrong, brothers? The one who is killed is stronger than the one who wins. The warships were now preparing to fight because there were still too many baby ants left. Jin-woo's army inside is constantly uprooting the grass. Jin-woo rearranged his inventory and forgot that there was still a huge sword he kept in storage. Jin-woo rotated the sword a dozen times, then swung it out powerfully on the TV, replaying the scene of Jin-woo defeating the Queen Ant. Hunter Management Director David is reviewing the battle. He glanced at his manager and immediately said, "A hunter who can control hundreds of summons is sure that this ability is extremely rare. He is too talented to be wasted in a small country like Korea." The director agreed to that and asked him if he had any ideas. The explosion incident occurred at the Hunter office a few months before the Song-il-hwan incident. He was captured alive by a James rank hunter at an rank gate in the eastern United States. I'm not sure if he's a human or a monster, but he insists he's a hunter and Song Jin-woo is father and son. Other countries still don't know anything about Hunter Song Jin-woo, not even his name. This is a great opportunity for us. The director listened to the whole situation and slowly responded, but he is different from Wang Dong. Sue's case. Korea has been an ally for a long time. We recruit S-rank hunters from other countries like stabbing them in the back. But isn't he worth a try? Then he glanced at him. Can you do it? We can try. The scene changes to Jin-woo. He carries the sword on his shoulder like a butcher. Jin-woo's level after defeating the ant was 100. Jin-woo looked towards the ant's corpse. The aura it radiated was now much greater than before. Rise. Suddenly the scene around Jin-woo became dark. Strangely, he didn't understand why he couldn't see anything. Then the black shadow surrounding Jin-woo gradually disappeared, and he returned to normal. The system announced that Jin-woo had successfully extracted the shadow. Jin-woo's expression was now satisfied. He smiled and looked towards the ant. I thought I had failed in the extraction. Level 1, General Rank. The ant kneeling in front of Jin-woo is a general rank. He has never met this rank before. This is definitely a higher rank than Jin-woo's current soldiers, which means it is much stronger. If compared to strength, this is completely reasonable. Jin-woo was about to turn around and tame the queen ant when suddenly there was a voice from behind. Your Majesty. Jin-woo was a bit surprised after hearing this. Please give me a name. Jin-woo looked at the ant and thought. It seemed like it was also under orders to be absolutely loyal to him. He thought then Jin-woo asked it why it was able to talk to him. I knew how to speak before. Jin-woo is a bit skeptical because he already knows how to speak. So if he becomes a shadow soldier, will he still be able to speak? But that's not true. Iron was also a person, and when he turned into a soldier, he could no longer speak. Min Byomnu and Tusk are the same. The only difference is rank. So maybe our soldiers will know how to speak when they reach this level. Jin-woo repeated, I am the one who killed you. Will you still be loyal and follow me? The ant firmly replied, I did not die but was reborn by the power of your Majesty. I am feeling joy and excitement welling up in me. Your Majesty, please give me a name. Jin-woo thought, calling it an ant is quite normal, so it needs a name to distinguish it from those other little ants. The name of a famous author who wrote the novel suddenly flashed in my mind. Beru, I will call you Beru. Thank you, Your Majesty. Jin-woo turned to look at the queen ant. Now it's your turn. Arise, the general rank ant queen rose up, and suddenly the connection between Jin-woo and the ants decreased. Jin-woo, confused, turned to ask Beru and replied that the queen ant's only ability is to control the ants. Does that mean the command of the ant colony is now given to the queen? Beru replied, yes, it was like that, Your Majesty. Compared to its level, its energy is too weak. Why is that? Beru also continued to explain that because the ant queen's energy is all devoted to reproduction, when she no longer has a body, her ability to reproduce is no longer there. So do you mean the ant queen cannot fight? Jin-woo now exclaimed, it is true that there cannot be two tigers in a forest. Canceling the shadow, The night soldiers were collecting magic stones when Jin-woo ordered them not to collect anymore. These crystals will be used to rebuild Jeju Island. We can't take it all away, so just take this from Beru's body. Oh, and the ants are flying around outside. Can I wipe them out with this army? I will try my best. Beru announced that because the ants lost their leader, they are now flying haphazardly. Jin-woo asked him about the current number of ants. Beru responded with 8,700 troops before the raid. The remaining number is about 4,000, Your Majesty. Hearing this, Jin-woo also sighed. I thought it was almost done, but I didn't expect there was still a lot left. Jin-woo turned to look at Beru. If it were you, could you kill them all? As long as you want, Your Majesty. Outside, the defense army is preparing to wait for the first wave of ants to approach. Special soldiers and hunters joined forces to attack the baby ants. A hunter announced that the ants were flying north. They were fighting with the knights. They were coming at us next. Everyone rushed forward. When the hunters saw the large number of ants, they were immediately frightened. Min Sum also shrank in fear when he saw it. Me, how should I fight those monsters now? A hunter next to him looked at his current appearance and constantly criticized his title as a rank, but isn't he just an empty shell? Mom, the ants were approaching the shore. Their speed was extremely fast. Suddenly, the little ants were hit by some kind of light, causing them to split in half. It took 2 more days to deal with all the remaining ants. They also appeared in the East China Sea, and the ants also spread to the mainland. It had been 2 days since the captain of the battleship had slept. Everyone was waiting for his command, but it seemed like their hero wanted to show off more. A young man wielding dual swords stood in front of the ship. There's definitely a lot. Rest in peace at the bottom of the sea. The 2 swords were pulled out with a fiery aura. He slashed twice at the ants, causing them to explode in the sky like fireworks. Instead of these small fries, if the one that fought with Song Jin-woo was still alive, then it would have been more exciting. The scene changes in a certain room. The blonde assistant appears. What do you think? There is only one clue connecting Mr. Hwang and Song Jin-woo. That is Mr. Hwang Dong-suk's brother. Maybe it was murdered by Song Jin-woo. Thomas said, so I have to take revenge. In short, that's it, right? But after this incident, it will be very difficult to meet Song Jin-woo. I also wanted to meet him, but I was so unlucky. At this time, the man was introduced as Thomas Onder, the owner of the American Scavenger Association. The blonde girl asked, what will you do if they fight? Laura, you pretend not to understand me. Hwang belongs to the Scavenger Guild, and the Scavenger Guild belongs to me. I will not let anyone touch my property, even if it is the U.S. government. Third night, Jeju Island campaign. The military and the representative guild of the Yeomnim district knights arrived at Jeju to collect the magic stones just in case something might happen. A hunter sighed. There was someone who barely had any luck. That man always did his best to become the best. His dream was to be a gold medalist, training hard just for himself. Losing weight to lower his weight class. He endured the strict training. The only thing left was to stand on stage for the Olympics. He was just about to achieve that dream. The doping test had no problems. He didn't have any nightmares the night before either. His condition was the best. But, because of a sudden excitement, he got caught by the magic meter and couldn't participate in the Olympics. Is that your story, boss? That person had to give up his dream, but then he dreamed a new dream, the dream of building the top hunter guild in Korea. Hey, don't litter, boss. I knew right away that Big Brother was the best. Did you see any high-quality magic stones? If you steal them, you'll be sure to make it to the top. The girl next to me shouted. How could you do that? By the way, this place is clean. Don't worry about anything. Just collect it because I don't feel any source of mana. There was still one left. He swung his sword and finished dealing with the ant. That's so cool, guys. If I see Beru, I run away. He continued to say. Well, it's okay. Even if we add a few more, we can still take care of it. Suddenly they gasped in surprise. Who are you? A person dressed as a prehistoric tribe appeared. The extremely brave body on Jeju Island should only be designated by people from the association and soldiers from the army. But the other hunter shouted, quickly tell us his identity. There was a special forces soldier who was about to shoot, but the hunter stopped him because he seemed to be a human being. He opened his mouth to say something I didn't understand, probably daring him to shoot. Seeing that he doesn't speak human language, do you think he's a monster? Suddenly someone snapped their fingers and everyone at the scene lost consciousness. The beast man turned to ask, "What are you doing?" The other goblin replied, "We shouldn't be rash, we'll just make them sleep. Have you checked carefully yet? I'm sure that's his power." The goblin didn't understand why that person would help humans with a bunch of insects that smelled like her. Seeing that, she would definitely go crazy. The hunt will still proceed as scheduled. Nothing changed. Then those two guys snapped their fingers and created a gate of the beastman's name, sensing that person was here or taking advantage of it to deal with him. The goblin said he would leave this place for that person to handle, which means you don't want to get involved, right? You think so? Then he entered the gate. The beastman still stood still for a moment. He was a coward, but you probably shouldn't be too rash. Then he created a gate and left. At the hunter's funeral, journalists gathered everywhere after the Jeju Island raid. Joy erupted everywhere. Jeju Island was his first raid mission after becoming S-rank. Online commentary channels are constantly talking about Jin-woo. Everyone is debating whether he is a national hunter or not, but in reality things have just begun. People started discussing the raid and now it's practically exploded by the sole name of Jin-woo. Even so, he could not avoid criticism even though his sacrifice was very small. Of course, there were people who supported him. Everywhere there have been people who had to sacrifice. Jin-woo's face was quiet. The hunter's relatives shed tears because of their departure. Bak also stopped and said, "I believe a single hero cannot end all wars by himself. But looking at what's going on here, I'm starting to think maybe I was wrong. You deserve to hold your head high. Mr. Hunter, you are the only one who can end this tragedy. Thank you." Chai, it over here, secretly looked at Jin-woo and was discovered by him, making her blush. The Jeju Island raid had 4801 hunters participating, including 727 normal awakened people. There were 64 awakened people and 32 civilians were killed. This tragedy ended with an empty number, but this raid had damage and casualties were minimal when compared to the previous 4 raids. Mr. Chairman came to see Jin-woo. "So you plan to form your own guild?" Hunter Sum Jin-woo. "NES rank hunter does not need a license to form a guild. All you need to do is a call to the Hunter Association is fine. We will take care of the rest." Yes, Jin-woo pondered that perhaps this was his chance to learn more about the benefits of becoming an S-rank hunter. The president continued to say, "I'm worried about this. Did you leave a barrier on Jeju Island?" Jin-woo heard this. With a slightly surprised expression, he explained, "There was an incident when everyone left while we were managing and recovering the magic stones. They were all A-rank hunters, and B-rank includes some members of the Night Guild. I asked because I thought maybe you forgot to remove some barrier." Jin-woo said, "No, I didn't do anything like that." "Then what did people say?" He replied slowly that they don't remember anything that happened before they arrived. In fact, we don't know if they were attacked by magic or not. Jin-woo thought to himself that perhaps it was the remaining ants from behind a security guard approached to inform the chairman of something, causing him to hastily leave. Jin-woo knew that perhaps he was blocked on his way home as expected. A young foreign man came to greet Jin-woo. He introduced himself as Senior Manager Adam White from the American Bureau of Craftsmen. "You can call me Adam. I come to the office, but it's hard to find. Please understand why I came to see you where you are." Like this, Jin-woo also remembered that Jin-ho had said that a foreigner had come to look for him before. "Why do you want to see me?" He seriously said that there was something he wanted to let Jin-woo know. He probably hadn't heard about this information, that there weren't any countries or students in existence except us. Jin-woo confusedly asked why he would give him such information. He expressed that he was actually the only one who met Jin-woo, but the attack on Jeju Island impressed the deputy director so much that he had to meet Jin-woo in person, which was a rare occurrence. He would tell Jin-woo the rest later. He asked, "I have prepared the car nearby. Do you want to meet him?" Jin-woo entered the car. "I don't know if that information is trustworthy. I'll call you after I consider it. I almost forgot. In negotiations, the better the card you hold, the more you shouldn't cover it up. Do you know anything about awakened people who have the ability to upgrade other awakened people?" The car drove for a while and then arrived. The deputy director there came out to greet Jin-woo. "He is Michael Connor." Connor said that he would get straight to the point. He placed a stack of immigration documents to the U.S. on the table. They usually take 1 to 2 years to prepare, But for worker Sum Jin-woo, it was a different story. Just 1 second, if you speak from there, you could become an American citizen even faster than subscribing to the channel. Jin-woo didn't answer that, but went straight to the point of coming here because Adam said it was possible to get the information he needed. Is it possible to upgrade one's skills? Michael Connor replied, to tell you the truth, the person who possesses that ability is here. He turned to look at his assistant. Quickly escort Ms. Sellner into the room. A woman walked into the room, making Jin-woo a bit concerned. Connor confidently expressed, the only person in this world who can help others awaken the power to overcome their own limits. She is Norma Sellner. Jin-woo sat there observing and also felt that she had a different aura than other awakened people. Ms. Sellner, please explain her abilities to craftsman Sum Jin-woo. Sellner looked at Jin-woo and asked if he still didn't believe it, right? All the other hunters had doubtful looks at first, but he had no choice but to stick to it. The more she spoke, the closer she got to Jin-woo. As you know, all awakened people have a limit that no one can surpass unless you double awaken. You will never reach a higher level. That's basic knowledge that every hunter knows. Jin-woo was a bit skeptical. She asserted that she had the ability to help others overcome that limit. I can help them through 3 levels, but I'm not sure whether to call it double awakening by force or boosting their potential. Adam also smiled now. What she said was true, but once she used the power, she would have to rest for a while with only a few chosen awakeners each year to enjoy the power. Did Jin-woo secretly think he was one of them? Moreover, if this is true, then it is a great ability. How does it work? It depends on the person. Sellner explains, but when they complete Phase 3, they can feel at least 20% or 30% stronger than before. At this moment, Jin-woo also understood why Hwang Dong-soo decided to move to America despite being despised by the country. No one could refuse this attractive offer. All other hunters must also kneel. Connor continued, if this skill is exposed to the outside, that is why Ms. Sellner is on our side. It is our responsibility to ensure her safety and pay a reasonable amount of money to her. Ms. Sellner will help our chosen hunter reach a higher level than Ms. Sellner's ability is our gift to you. Jin-woo remained calm. This was more like an agreement than a gift. Adam turned to answer. If you become America's hunter, we will ensure that you will be the first to enjoy the benefits and that this agreement will have the best conditions for you. We have arranged prepare a guild of your choice. There's no need to rush. Today we're here to help you untie the first knot. Jin-woo was a bit surprised. Sellner continued. We told you, this is a gift. Connor looked straight at Jin-woo. That's right. Do you agree to unlock your potential? No conditions attached. He said just consider it a free gift. Worker Sum Jin-woo. Jin-woo, after hearing this, also agreed to try. Sellner held his hand and looked into my eyes carefully. This was the first step. Connor here observed the situation with satisfaction. Good, he fell into the trap. He still retains his inherent coldness, but once he goes through stage 1, he will have to contact us again. No, if he is impatient, he will sign the contract immediately. After the Jeju Island incident, Ryuji Goto, who aimed for the national level, but this boy could easily clean up the whole island with an ability that no one had ever heard of. It was unknown where his limits were. Sellner slowly seeped into Jin-woo's darkness, surrounded by a pitch-black darkness. Sellner inside saw Jin-woo's strength and sweat. She widened her eyes. The soldiers saw something unusual and immediately pointed their guns at Jin-woo. Adam was surprised and shouted loudly, "Stop! Have you people lost your mind? I don't know who is sitting there, these idiots." After hearing this, he was helpless. He continued to teach her. If you're worried, take care of her quickly. He apologized. His agent was rude. Jin-woo was a bit surprised, not knowing what was going on. Adam gave the security guard an angry look. If something like this happened in front of Thomas Onder or Liu Ji Gang, we would all be dead right now. Keep that in mind. After hearing that, he was scared and sweating. Connor wholeheartedly asked about Miss Sellner's situation. She is now very scared, her face pale as if something terrible had just happened. Connor turned to Jin-woo and said it seemed Miss Sellner was not feeling well right now. We'll call you back later, Adam. Please escort Hunter Sum Jin-woo home safely. He now turned to ask Sellner what happened. Sellner's arms trembled. He is the king, a very powerful king. Hearing this, Connor was a bit surprised, meaning that he was on the same level as a national hunter. Selner was also uncertain at this time. She had never seen anything like that. He was the king, but different from the rest. When I looked at him, he also looked back at me. It wasn't Hunter-some Jin-woo, but the darkness in him. It looked straight at me and had no limits to its power. At the headquarters of the Korean Hunter Association, Chairman Go looked thoughtful and lamented that he had lost Hunter Min by Omgu. No, he's retired, so we can't call him a hunter anymore. That's a noble sacrifice. Even now my heart still aches after the raid just now, and it won't end simply with some sacrifice. Suddenly a call came in, the chairman picked up the phone, and a B-class gate appeared in the middle of the street. If it was B-class, a medium attack team couldn't handle it. Seeing that, the president said he would contact the large association immediately. Wait, on the street, the president was suddenly stunned. Wasn't worker some Jin-woo doing some work nearby? Jin-woo walked on the street thinking about what just happened. Mrs. Selner saw something, but what? Traces of the system. Suddenly she was frightened by something. Her eyes showed horror. I think she won't dare see me again. While waiting for the traffic jam to end, Jin-woo suddenly received a call from Chairman Go. He said that near Jin-woo's place, a gate appeared in the middle of the road. Why are the roads clogged like Vietnam? He asked if Jin-woo could handle it, but Jin-woo's tone was a bit sarcastic. What if they call me weak and don't let me in? Hearing this, he burst out laughing. Ha ha! Rest assured I will protect you here, ha ha! Now, feel free to wipe out that dungeon. Anyway, thank you for… thank you. At the gate, people were actively controlling traffic, and television reporters also appeared to report on this incident. The employee saw Jin-woo and quickly stopped him. Hey, wait a minute, you can't come in here without permission. But looking closely, she realized this was the S-rank hunter, Sung Jin-woo. Everyone there also saw it and were surprised to see Sung Jin-woo. It seemed like he came here to handle it. However, she still stopped it because there was still no order from her superiors. Even if we allow it, we can't let Jin-woo go in there alone. Jin-woo saw that and immediately called President Go. Hello, I'm here, but there seems to be a small problem. Then he gave the phone to the employee. She was suspicious and didn't know who he called. Jin-woo replied, It's nothing, just a doting old man. The voice of the chairman here shouted. Hello, it's the chairman. She quickly picked up the phone and answered. Jin-woo saw that and asked if he could come in and then hurried inside. She angrily cursed. Anyone who watches without subscribing to the channel will be beaten up. As soon as Jin-woo entered the gate, it turned red. Jin-woo went inside. Feeling also understood that this was a red gong. The path gradually closed. Jin-woo thought about his mother in a slightly confused mood. Jin-woo's face was warm. As expected, my mother is always the one who helps me feel relieved. I don't know if she supports SSS rank or not. Just thinking about her makes my strength buffed a lot. The Dark Soldiers started fighting. Jin-woo just stood there watching his juniors act while he himself went to YouTube to review my channel. A hunter is born to hunt. Monsters are not the only enemy of every hunter. Hunters must be careful not to be hunted by them. Their position may be changed at any time. Therefore, hunters never let down their guard. Even if there are hundreds or thousands of hunts, the hunt will never end, and it's not just one person looking for the next target. I intend to stop this hunt, and finally, after 11 chapters, Season 1 has ended. Thank you for always supporting my channel. At the beginning of Season 2, we meet Hunter James again. He is going into the dungeon and continues to meet people outside this world. He looked at him with the eyes of death, not this time either, evading skillfully like a fragment of light. Another person came out. Yugumant, why are you here? I came to tell you information related to the Eastern Lands. The Eastern Lands are where the Dark Lord rules. Isn't that place I have already assigned to you? Hearing that, he replied, Those who rule the Southern Land are Legia. I will take over that place. So what about the Dark Lord? If we proceed with the contract, there will be no problem. And we have another very interesting news. In that land, there was the existence of light fragments. Hearing that, the goblin gave a cunning smile. Very interesting. Did you deliberately come here to let me know? Yugimon asked. What do you want? The goblin quickly replied. If you want, I'm ready to give in because it seems like you're attracted to a boy who has no reason to have the power of a fragment. But I really wonder why he left a trail that looked like he was going to try to get in our way. The small land east of Sung Il-hwan suddenly approached and asked those guys, Does that mean Korea? If that's true, what do you plan to do? Yugiman also asked. I really don't have time to play with him. If he has the ability to follow us, let him follow. Song Il-hwan attacks those people. I will not give up easily. Inside the red dungeon, the leader of the monsters asks Jin-woo with a bloodthirsty face. Is it you? You are the one who killed our brothers. You can come all the way here. You can even use our language. But this place will be your grave. They kept talking and saying that they were already ambushing around here. But Jin-woo replied, I'm not alone. It seems a bit early for you to be proud. All of Jin-woo's shadow soldiers appeared from the edge of the forest and knocked out a few soldiers around there. Now there's no one left to ambush us, right? He looked at the scene around him. In his hand, there was now the head of his subordinate. He shouted in fear and helplessness. Bastard! Jin-woo's expression was cold. Jin-woo's entire army began to attack the brutal monsters. The fight broke out very quickly. Two four-legged men approached Jin-woo, and the patriarch shouted, Arrogant man! As soon as he finished speaking, Biru and Igris cut off his arm. He knelt down in pain. In front of him was Tusk holding the greedy pearl. Tusk activated his reaction skill, and the guy's head immediately fell face down on the ground. Jin-woo appeared in his eyes. From now on, answer everything I ask. If you answer obediently, it will be better. But after a while we saw that guy's body lying on the ground. Finally, the system continued to intervene. Jin-woo took the key out of the closet, and sooner or later I would find it. This key is taken from a random box cursed by players who have reached level 100. The required conditions have been met. The information that the key has been partially opened is the Kartanon Temple. The key can be used to reach the temple, the location of which will be announced after a certain period of time. Kartanon Temple is a place that even if you want to forget, you cannot forget. Double Dungeon, the system is calling me again where everything started, but I'm already very different from before if this had been arranged from the beginning. If that thing is waiting for me there. If that's the case, then just wait. Here Jin-ho is going online to fight with the masses over the news that defames Jin-woo. His face was extremely angry. I will sue all of you. Until then, I will not forgive you even if you cry. Phew, today I continue to be useless, but nevertheless I succeeded in eliminating the roots of one of the forces that intended to harm Big Brother. Where did Jin-woo come from? It's so hard, isn't it? Boss, is everything okay? He quickly replied, Yes sir, but why is he dressed so beautifully? Jin-woo displayed a bag of magic stones and said, I just stopped by a dungeon on the way here. You said you needed money to establish a guild, right? Jin-ho shouted, Isn't this a high-grade magic stone? Did you just conquer a high-class portal? As expected, Big Brother is the most powerful with this. We don't need to worry about members' salaries anymore. Member. Don't you remember, boss? I said we need one more member to be a founder. Jin-woo also remembered at this time that in order to establish a guild, there must be enough guild leaders, vice guild leaders, and managers. Even if you choose members to have enough numbers, you should also choose honest people because you have to work together for a long time. Jin coughed with a serious face and still had an extremely urgent matter that needed to be resolved immediately. Big Brother, have you decided on a name for our guild yet? Jin-woo looked a bit confused. Huh? Do you have to do those things? Jin-ho was angry and shouted, If Big Brother doesn't do such an important thing, who will? How about Song-yu Guild after our last names? That doesn't sound right though. Yu-song Guild would be okay too, but I wouldn't dare have my name come before yours. Maybe we can be the Woo-ho Guild after the last characters in our names, and Jin-jin Guild using the middle characters doesn't sound bad either. Jin-woo interrupted. How about Solo Play Guild? After all, our guild is a solo guild. After hearing this, Jin-ho was speechless and looked extremely dissatisfied. Was that supposed to be funny? I guess there's something Hyam-nim is bad at too. He is human after all. There was a knock on the door outside. Jin-woo quickly ran to open the door. Is this Hunter Song Jin-woo's office? Yes, that's right. Can I ask someone? Only then did Jin-woo realize that it was Hunter Cha-hae and Jin-woo approached and asked why Hunter Cha came here. She hesitantly replied, I want to join your guild. The two started sitting at the table. You want to join my guild? Cha-hae, it was extremely serious. I told you I want to join your guild. Jin-woo, after hearing this, had a confused expression on his face. Why is it like this? Jin-woo continued asking. Did the association president ask you to do so? Cha-hae-in was a bit surprised. Why? Why did he have to do that? Jin-woo continued to say that she was chased by Hunter Choi-jong. You are too suspicious.